Good morning. In today's video, I will be discussing the various types of studies as well as the disadvantages and advantages of cross-sectional study. So, if we talk about a cross-sectional study, it is a study which takes place at a particular place in time, and it is the most convenient form of study because we only have to collect the sample at one time. We don't have to collect any past samples or any future samples, unlike hot studies. And what are the advantages? Naturally, it is very cheap. It is accessible, it is convenient. However, the disadvantages are several because we don't have to work any hard. The disadvantages are that we don't know any natural causation or relation or correlation of the positive or the risk factors of a particular disease or of the topic in concern. We don't have the current incidence data, means the new cases which are being reported. We have very limited information on the risk factors and the exposures or the outcomes. There is a thing known as prevalence bias because if we basically for example fill out a questionnaire from a particular person at a specific time, most likely he would be having a chronic disease or a chronic ailment which he would have reported at that moment. It is very unlikely that the very particular question he would have reported to us would have appeared at that exact moment. So apart from that, there are several other confounding variables such as age. These confounding variables are variables which adversely affect both the cause and effect, and thus basically they adversely impact the data which has been collected. Moreover, there is sampling bias. Sampling bias means that the person who's collecting the sample, he can be more prone to collect only those samples which are basically conclude with his own preferences or which he own likes. Now I'll be covering the topic of primary healthcare. So what is primary healthcare? Primary healthcare is affordable and accessible healthcare. Its main principles are that basically universal healthcare should be accessible to all and free to all. Basically involves the cooperation of several organizations as well as the active participation of the community. Now, what is primary healthcare? Basically, primary healthcare is developed in those developing areas where there is not enough financial resources or institutions. So, what we do is that we only provide those essential healthcare. For example, anti-rabies injection. For we know that if a person does not receive the effective vaccination for rabies after getting a dog bite, he might die after 72 hours because of hydrophobia. So this is a life-saving treatment. This is comes into primary healthcare. Similar is the are several other diseases such as acute respiratory infection. If not treated at the time, it may develop into several other diseases. So this is all about primary healthcare. It involves the coordination of the district health services as well as to local community workers. An important thing is that it involves the liaison between the local community as well as medical health professionals. Now we talk about other biostatistical correlations. We talk about positive and correlation, negative correlation. Positive correlation means how and the variable positively impacts a thing, whereas negative correlation is how a variable negatively impacts a thing. Now, if I talk to you about how we basically make up research consists of a short and brief title, which is very catchy and attractive. For it should be less than 15 words, followed by an abstract. An abstract is a brief summary of about 150 words, and it contains all of the summaries, including the conclusion, results, and objectives. Objectives are basically the main goals of the research, and in the conclusion, you have to see if you have satisfied those objectives. Now, the research design I have already explained how it's cross-sectional or cohort. Now we come to the data collection. It can be through online forms or questionnaires. And finally, the results in the data analysis can be performed using SPSS software and several other softwares. After doing all the work, you need to reference those from whom you've taken help, or you need to quote those in the citation. And you need to remember that the best form of citation is Harvard style citation. Thank you for watching the video.